From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Search efforts continue for a missing 13-year-old girl we now know has autism. This girl from Gary Owen, we've been following this case. The latest on that, after devastating floods in North Carolina, we're discovering a Park City family learns 11 members of their family were killed during Hurricane Helene. We'll have that. And the latest from the campaign trail this morning. We're less than 3 weeks away from Election Day now. Good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning on this Wednesday, October 16th. I'm Augusta McDonnell here with Miller Robson.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Happy midweek to you all. It's been a warm week, and we're going to have a little bit more of that before things change.
Yeah, one more day today where we can at least flirt with some record highs, and then it gets cold, very cold out there. We're looking at highs in the 40s and 50s, so a big dip in those temperatures moving forward. Yesterday, we didn't hit a record, but it was warmer than average, almost 20 degrees above the norm with that 78 here in Billings, 10 degrees warmer than average for our low of 47. Yesterday, we had a top gust of 26 miles an hour. Could still see that again today. Really, it could be stronger over along the western foothills, where we have gusts possibly 40 to 45 miles an hour. That combined with very low humidity in the teens, that means there's going to be an elevated fire risk along the western foothills. All of us today very dry, so just be mindful of that. If you're outside, don't do anything that's going to cause a spark. But we do have maybe a hefty amount of rain heading our way and could make a nice little dent in that deficit for the month. It's been very dry out there for October and of course for the year. Right now, temperature-wise, not too bad. Sitting at 57, it's about 20 degrees warmer than where we should be, but I don't think anybody's complaining. Winds out of the southwest at about 15 miles an hour across the area, 40s and 50s. Highs today, 70s and 80s, and then here come the changes. Yeah, winter storm on the way for some. We'll talk about that coming up.
All right, Miller, thanks for tracking all of those details. And our top story this morning, we told you at the start of this school year how Narcan is now being placed into Montana schools. It's it's a reality because of the threat of fentanyl and other drugs. In fact, on Monday, police say that Narcan had to be used in one Billings school. Police tell us Narcan was deployed after a student overdosed at Skyview High School. Police say the school resource officer rushed to the student's aid, administered Narcan, and was able to revive the student. Despite these details from police, School District 2 officials tell us they can only confirm a medical emergency occurred at the school. Still, they are well aware of the threat and have had this life-saving tool in SD2 buildings for years, far before most all other districts in the state. Our David J. caught up with school district officials to learn more about the use of Narcan in schools.
Fentanyl continues to be a problem all across the country, the state, and in Billings. And to combat that and to help save lives, Narcan has been put in many places and as a precaution, even in the schools. School District 2 has placed trauma kits in all the schools, and those kits include Narcan in case of a fentanyl overdose.
It is a true life-saving measure that we can take, very simple to administer, relatively cheap.
Joe Halligan is the district's school safety and emergency management coordinator and says some of the schools have been trained in administering Narcan.
If any staff member or student encounters a person who is unconscious, not breathing, maybe their lips are blue, they just look like they're in distress, and then because staff know where these items are located, then they would essentially go right to the trauma kit, grab the Narcan, and administer the dose as quickly as they possibly could.
The trauma kits have been in schools for about 6 years, with Narcan the last 3. And the Attorney General's office has added Narcan to all Montana high schools and middle schools.
Once Narcan is administered, obviously we do alert 911 immediately or simultaneously.
It's absolutely important to have Narcan in the schools.
Sherelle Garding has helped people overcome addiction at the Rimrock Foundation. She knows that Narcan can reverse the fentanyl or opioid overdose.
When you overdose on an opiate, your respiratory system shuts down. You stop breathing, you stop all of those things stop. Your heart stops beating. The administration of Narcan in a fast amount of time can literally reverse the effects of that overdose in your body.
Narcan is free at the Rimrock Foundation and some other places around Billings because it can save lives.
It's talking to our young people. It's letting them know, you don't know what you're getting. Don't take drugs from someone that you don't know, or even if it's from your friend.
And the schools are also equipped with automated external defibrillators, or AEDs, another life-saving device to go along with Narcan.
Can be proactive with the trauma kits, with the Narcan, with the AEDs, with the training that we're providing. We're going to jump on that opportunity every chance we get.
In Billings, David J., MTN News.
Now new this morning, new Center for Disease Control data shows Montana is one of 2 states with very high levels of COVID in its wastewater. This information comes after national wastewater testing. Recent spikes in COVID cases have been largely driven by a new class of subvariants nicknamed FLIRT. According to Newsweek, while the U.S. saw a steady rise in infections over the summer, hospitalizations and deaths have remained relatively low. It appears that the new FLIRT variants, while more infectious, do not generally cause as severe of symptoms as we've seen with previous variants. And again, that's a report from Newsweek. Search efforts continue for a missing 13-year-old girl with autism. She's from Gary Owen. It's been more than a week now since Wade Bird and Ground was last seen. Diane Parker spoke with her family to see how the search is progressing.
This is the center of the search for 13-year-old Swade Bird and Ground as tips continue to come in on the daily for this young Gary Owen girl missing now since October 7th. Everything here at the Incident Command Center meticulously outlined as crews continue to investigate.
Oh, is it by that old homestead? Oh, okay, yeah, I hit that one yesterday.
As soon as leads come in, this search and rescue team, comprised of multiple agencies and volunteers, clears them and moves on. A process of elimination tracked via paper whiteboards, printed maps, and a passionate team.
Swade, please come home. Let your parents know that you're safe. We'd like to have you home. Your family loves you. They want you home.
Jack Oldhorn leads the search and rescue team with the limited resources he's afforded, but on this day, a Black Hawk circles the sky, combing the Crow Reservation for any sign of Swade.
We've had air searches, we've had drone searches, we've had horseback searches.
Even canine and canoe teams have led to zero indication of where Swade is, but this community won't give up on the girl with autism who disappeared from her bedroom on a fall Sunday night, leaving behind her phone, her important headphones, and a family that loves her dearly.
My name's Wade. I'm Swade's father, and we've been working real hard.
Some leads, according to family, like her phone, handed off to the FBI for agents to recover recently cleared text messages and phone calls, as well as investigate one additional phone that may be the last person on record Swade spoke with before vanishing.
Today, we are going to continue our search on this side of the highway.
Montana's highways are sprinkled with missing and murdered Indigenous people billboards as families face the reality that their loved one is one of 194 missing persons statewide, 55 of those Indigenous, a disproportionate percentage of the missing population.
You never think that this type of thing will happen to you. These are things you listen to on podcasts and things you watch on TV.
In Gary Owen, Diane Parker, MTN News.
Diane, thanks so much. The family is asking anybody who wants to join the search. You can do so by meeting at the old gas station in Gary Owen. And if you have any information, call 406-839-3817. Residents in Lame Deer are dealing with having either no running water or very low levels of water pressure this morning. The Northern Cheyenne Disaster and Emergency Services say old pipes are to blame for a water line break. It happened Saturday, leaving some residents with low water pressure and others without any water at all. Lame Deer Elementary School students were let out at 2 p.m. yesterday because of low water pressure. Morning Star Sanitation put out porta potties for residents over the weekend. The town also handed out cases of bottled water. Water samples are also being collected and tested this week. Senator John Tester took to social media saying he's monitoring the situation. Now let's get to an update on the elk fire. That blaze burning on the Wyoming-Montana state line. We've been tracking it for over 2 weeks since it sparked. As of yesterday afternoon and our current latest information as well, this fire has burned almost 92,000 acres. That's about 2,000 more since Monday. That fire, which has been burning for over 2 weeks now, is 26% contained. There are close to 1,000 personnel fighting this blaze. One new Montana family is now dealing with an unimaginable loss. The Wright family recently moved to Park City from western North Carolina. 11 members of their family were killed during Hurricane Helene when a mudslide tore through their small town. Our Haley Monaco spoke with the Wright family about this loss and how the Montana community is stepping up to help.
Just utter devastation.
Brad and Carrie Wright's lives changed in a split second.
It just doesn't feel real.
3 weeks ago, torrential rains from Hurricane Helene caused a mudslide and flooding that tore through Brad's childhood homestead in Fairview, North Carolina, a place his family spent 80 years building up.
So I knew when the phone started ringing, and I just had that gut feeling, and to hear the stress and strain and fear in his voice, he said, my parents are missing.
A lingering hope that they had survived, but the more details that had came out, it was unfortunately leaning toward the more obvious that they weren't going to be able to survive something like that.
13 people were killed in the floods, 11 of them Brad's family members, including both his parents.
We had found remnants of my parents' house miles down the road. It was completely destroyed and broken apart.
It took 10 days to find all the bodies.
His mom was the furthest. His mom, to fathom driving from where their place once stood to 3 miles down the road where her body was found.
Now, just memories of the couple, 82-year-old Daniel and 81-year-old Evelyn Wright, are left behind.
And we love you. Bye-bye.
That's the sweetest voice.
They loved everybody. They loved on everybody that he could.
The Wrights, who moved to Park City less than a year ago, went back to North Carolina last week, digging through the debris.
Piles 20, 30 feet tall, and just things that were there at one point were totally gone, to the point where you're like, am I even standing in the right place?
And helping their family members who survived, while their Montana community rallied behind them.
I know it seems so far away, living here in Montana, but it's really not.
Carrie works here at the Carlton Depot, and when the owner found out what happened to the family, she knew she had to help in any way she can. So they're holding a fundraiser this Sunday from 11 to 4.
I just wanted to do something to make a difference for them, a difference for the help that they need out there. For an entire family of 11 to be wiped out is just devastating.
With raffles, games, and a silent auction, the proceeds will go to the Wrights as they help the family rebuild.
It's caring for the people that are left, caring for these families who have lost everything.
A family going through so much loss.
And it's going to be a long road, a long process.
In Park City, Haley Monaco, MTN News.
Haley, thanks so much. Scammers are always on the prowl. It appears many are using the recent hurricanes to steal data from unsuspecting donors who want to help victims. The IRS is now warning folks to be aware of these fake charities. They say it's important to verify who you're giving money to. Sometimes scammers use names that sound like well-known charities. Be cautious about how a donation is requested. It's safest to pay by credit card or check, but only after you verify the charity is real. And don't share too much information. Never disclose social security numbers or personal ID numbers. And don't give in to any pressure. Scammers often pressure people into making an immediate payment. Any fake or suspicious charity should be reported to the FBI on their website, fbi.gov.